Just when you thought the drama was over in AEW, Andrade El Idolo takes some seemingly unwarranted shots at Sammy Guevara. Andrade was on the Lucha Mas show, some sort of Spanish language podcast or web show of some kind, talking about his wrestling career, talking about his time in WWE, talking about AEW. And it was on the subject of AEW, he was asked about the whole backstage beef with CM Punk and the Elite. And Andrade basically said, hey, I get along with both of them. I never had a problem with Punk. Never had a problem with Kenny or the Bucks. I get along with everybody pretty well. Don't have any issues with anybody in AEW. And then he gave it a second thought, and he's like, well, except for this one guy in AEW, and he name drops Sammy Guevara. Check out this clip and watch for the subtitles because this is in Spanish.
Nomás tuve problema con un luchador que no... Voy a decir su nombre. Sammy Guevara. Voy a decir su nombre. Problema con él de que no sé, que entró al vestidor, de que le pegaba muy recio. Pues sí es lucha. Lucha libre. Que le pegaba muy recio y que lo golpeé mucho y de que estaba molesto con él. No, pues es lucha libre. Pues te entregas arriba del ring. O sea, si te pego recio, pégame recio. Yo ya me enteré de que enteró, que se quejó y
¿Te acusó?
Me acusó ahí como niña. Como pueden decir aquí, como niña me acusó, me enteré. Después hablé bien con él, o sea, sin pelear. Hablé bien con él, había un problema conmigo, me dijo que no. Y ya está ahí, o sea, lo hablé claro con él, sin problema, le dijo que no. No, no llegamos a más. Eso fue todo el único altercado que he tenido, yo creo que en mucho tiempo. Porque ni en WWE que dicen, oh, que WWE ni se pega. No, pues, Sheamus es un luchador de respeto para Sheamus. Le encanta pegar a Sheamus, le encantan los golpes.
Bravo, ¿no?
Es bravo. Hasta el propio The Miz le encantan.
Sí.
Sí, ni John Cena, que luché, dijo nada. Que le pegaba fuerte. Imagínate este chavo que va empezando, pero bueno.
Yeah, Andrade just completely took a huge shot at Sammy Guevara, basically calling him a bitch for complaining that he hits too hard in the ring, that it's wrestling. If I hit you too hard, just hit me back. We settle it out in the ring. We don't cry about it like a little bitch backstage. And he's not entirely wrong. I'll give him that. That's kind of how I see it as well. I mean, wrestling is a tough guy sport. It is not for the weak. If you get out there, you're going to get hit. You're going to get hurt from time to time because it's not ballet. This is full contact. I'm sure Andrade wasn't trying to hurt the dude. Andrade certainly doesn't have a reputation for being, stiff with anybody, on purpose or going out of his way to be rough with anybody in the ring. Sounds like they just had a fucking rough night at the office and Sammy had a problem with it. But I don't think that needs to get handled publicly, right? There's no reason for Andrade to come out and say this in the interview and name drop Sammy specifically and basically call him a bitch. It was completely uncalled for. And not only did he do it in the interview, but he doubled down on it. And then he ended up taking to Twitter after the interview. And he said this: I said it to your face. If you had a problem with me and you said nothing, I won't beat your ass because I'm a professional. Don't be scared. When I say something, I name names. I'm not scared to get fired. Hashtag Sammy. Of course he's not scared to get fired. He wants to get fired. He's poking the bear. Why would you even say I'm not scared to get fired unless clearly you are wanting to get fired so that you can go back to Papa H? But Sammy Guevara didn't take that kindly. He finally responded and he said this on Twitter: You didn't say shit to me, you liar. But here's some truth, you ungrateful prick. You would be jobless if it wasn't for your dad-in-law. Are you really mad at me? Or are you mad at yourself for failing to get over for a second time? Just go back to WWE like we all know you want to do and fuck off. That's good. I like that reply by Sammy Guevara. Because Andrade is a failure. He did fail to get over again, a second time. I just talked about this on last week's podcast. Andrade El Idolo he's worthless to me. I don't know. He's talented in the ring, but he's boring as all fuck to watch. He does not get over. There's nothing about him that makes you, oh, I gotta see Andrade El Idolo, unless you want to just watch a really good wrestling match, with skilled maneuvering and that sort of thing. But you can see that from 100 different guys. Look, you can watch fucking Matt Seidel wrestle Jack Evans, and you're gonna see some fucking shit in the ring. Doesn't mean either one of them are worth a shit, right? They're both boring as hell. They both got the personality of a doorknob. You don't want to watch them. Andrade El Idolo is boring, and he has failed to get himself over in AEW. And you could argue that he's been given a bad spot, that he hasn't been given a proper push, that he's not being used properly, and all of those things could be correct. And you could even argue in WWE he didn't get over because Vince McMahon, blah, 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 blah. You could argue all that, or Andrade just sucks. Because what has he done with the time he's had on TV? He's had TV main events. He's been on pay-per-view. It's not like he's sitting around in catering or wrestling on Dark. He has matches on TV. But what does he do with that time? And how over does he get on TV? How much do you want to see him again after you watch his match? You don't. He's boring as fuck. But the Twitter beefs were not done there. Andrade replied to that. Okay, I'm a liar. Laughing face with the tears. See you on Wednesday. I'll tell you to your face again. And nothing you say that you do not have any problem. A little bit lost in translation there, but we'll let it slide. And then that little stooge, Jose the assistant, had to jump in on Twitter. I don't know if this is just in character or if he's just really that big of a douche, but he basically jumped in and said that he can confirm that Andrade did say this to Sammy's face, that he was there. Finally, Sammy replied, "You're a jobber, a favor hire. Be grateful, bitch." Now look, this is not a good look for AEW. They're trying to rehabilitate their image. They're trying to reverse the idea that they have a drama-filled locker room, that it's divisive, that everybody's beefing backstage. And here we have Andrade fucking El Idolo out here picking fights with Sammy Guevara publicly. Now, I have seen some people speculate that this could be a work, that they're using social media and that they're using the idea of the divisive locker room to kind of lean into all of that and help build storylines. If that's the case, more power to them, but I don't know that it's working in the way that they would want it to if it is, right? Because all it's doing is just making the company look bad. It's putting heat on the company. It's not putting heat on the match between Andrade and fucking Sammy. So this is something that Tony's got to get control of. He's got to have a backstage meeting again or something. He's got to tell these guys to keep their fucking mouths shut about backstage drama when you're doing interviews and shit. Don't go out there and pick fights with people. Honestly, look, this is wrestling. Tough guys are going to be beefing constantly. It's egos, massive egos, tough guys with massive egos. They're all going to want to fight. They're all going to want to argue. They're all going to want to bitch and bicker and talk shit. It's just the nature of the business. That's never going to be controlled. As far as Andrade and Sammy goes, look here, Andrade, like I said, was in the right to begin with for saying that Sammy should have never said anything. You take your licks and you say thank you for the match. If you have a problem, handle it in the ring. But at the same time, you don't go out and you don't say that kind of shit publicly. He knew he was picking a fight when he did that. He knew he was stirring the pot. He knew he was going to cause more drama by saying this out loud. Because he not only did it in the interview, but he went and doubled down on Twitter. From as far as I can tell by the timestamps on everything, he doubled down on Twitter before Sammy ever replied. And of course, this just blew up and made the wrestling media news all day today as I record this. It's just not a good look. Not a good look for AEW. But yeah, and you know what? Sammy's right too. Andrade is a failure. Andrade is not getting over. And quite frankly, I would let Andrade go. He's not one that I would be stubborn to hang on to. Malachi Black, I can see. I can see wanting to hang on to him, but a guy like Andrade, or even like, you know, Buddy Matthews is rumored to be asking for his release and stuff too. Get rid of these guys. You don't need that shit in your locker room. Not to say that they're full of drama or anything, but they clearly don't want to be there, and they're going to just poke the bear and stir shit up and just be unhappy until they get their release. Malachi's a little bit different because he's a bigger star. And you don't want to like send a whole fucking Radicals team over to the WWE for Triple H to sit in the front row. And of course, then he would have a match with each of them and bury them on TV. But that's besides the point. You don't want a Radicals situation where you just hand WWE a fucking 12 people to go, you know, say that they stole them from AEW, you know. It was already a bad enough look when Cody Rhodes jumped ship. But I expect to hear more from about this before the week is out. And, you know, Sammy, on the other hand, too, I kind of been favoring Sammy here in this situation. But look, Sammy's been getting himself into a lot of beefs backstage all of a sudden lately. Andrade, fucking Kingston. I guess it's not a lot, but it's more than anybody else is having, so knock it the fuck off. He needs to put his ego in check too, but he's young and he's green and he's kind of a punk ass. So that'll come with just growing up and being wiser in his years. But what a mess. What a mess for Tony Khan to clean up. But what a bunch of sweet, sweet tweeting entertainment that we get to enjoy as wrestling fans.
Oh yeah, thanks for checking out the video. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like it if you liked it. Yeah, and you can check out full episodes each and every Sunday right here on the channel. Oh yeah, dig it.